You wake up. You brush your teeth. You go about a day so ordinary you'll forget most of it by tomorrow. That's normal. That's how memory is supposed to work. But somewhere in your first 2 or 3 years of life, something stranger happened. Not forgetting. A total blank. No first steps. No first word. No face of the person who fed you every single day for months. Just nothing. And you probably assume it's because you were too young to remember. Like your brain just hadn't turned on yet. That's not quite right. Your brain was very much on. What happened to those years is stranger and a lot more interesting than simply not being ready. Start with the textbook explanation, the one most people have heard. The hippocampus, the part of your brain that files away memories like a librarian stamping a date on every book before it goes on the shelf, isn't fully developed in infancy. So the theory goes, no working librarian, no filed books, no memories. Simple, tidy, case closed. Except it's not closed. Because here's the question that theory can't answer. If your brain wasn't recording anything, why do babies clearly remember things? A 6-month-old will cry the second a stranger picks her up instead of her mother. A 1-year-old will reach for a toy he played with 3 days ago, in the exact spot he left it. That's not no memory. That's memory working just fine on a short leash. So the real puzzle isn't whether babies can remember. It's why none of it survives into adulthood. This is where developmental psychologist Carolyn Rovee-Collier's work gets interesting. She spent decades studying infant memory using a surprisingly simple setup. A ribbon tied from a baby's ankle to a mobile overhead, so that kicking made the mobile move. Babies as young as 2 or 3 months old learned the connection fast, and remembered it kicking on cue days or even weeks later when put back under the same mobile. So infants aren't blank slates. They're actively learning and storing information almost from birth. But that's only half the story because none of those memories are the kind you could ever consciously recall as an adult. They're a different species of memory entirely. Here's the twist neuroscientists eventually landed on. Your brain isn't failing to record your early years. It's actively overwriting them. Psychologist Paul Frankland at the University of Toronto studies something called neurogenesis, your brain literally building new rooms, new neurons, in the hippocampus at an explosive rate during infancy. That sounds like it should help memory. It does the opposite. Franklin's research suggests that this flood of new neurons rewires the existing circuitry so fast and so often that older memory traces get bulldozed before they can be locked in for the long term. Your brain wasn't too immature to remember. It was too busy constructing itself to keep the receipts. So the deeper truth is this: infantile amnesia, the actual clinical term for it, first named by Sigmund Freud over a century ago, though his explanation for it turned out to be wrong, isn't a glitch. It's the cost of rapid growth. Every one of us paid the same price to become who we are. The version of you that existed at 18 months had to be partially demolished so the version of you that can read this sentence right now could be built on top of it. That's not a loss so much as a renovation. You're not missing those years. You're standing on them. And this isn't just a you thing, it's not even just a human thing. Psychologist Patricia Bauer at Emory University has spent years mapping exactly when childhood memories start to stick, and found the cutoff isn't a single sharp wall. It fades in gradually, with most adults' earliest memories dating to somewhere between ages 2 and 4, and quality improving steadily after that. And it's not unique to us. Rodent studies from Frankland's lab found the same neurogenesis-driven forgetting in young mice, which suggests this isn't a flaw evolution somehow forgot to fix in humans. It's a trade-off built into how brains grow across species, the price of a mind flexible enough to be rewritten from scratch. Which brings the whole thing to something almost tender, if you sit with it. Those years aren't gone because they didn't matter. They're gone because they mattered so much your brain used them as raw material. The warmth you can't recall, the voices you can't place. They didn't vanish. They got folded into the architecture, into the wiring that decided how safe the world would feel to you, how attachment would work for you, long before you had language to store any of it as a story. You don't remember being loved as a baby. You just are, in ways that are harder to see precisely because they were built in before memory even started keeping score. So the next time you look at an old photo of yourself as a toddler and feel that strange disconnect, like you're looking at a stranger who happens to share your name, you're not looking at someone you failed to hold on to. You're looking at the scaffolding. And scaffolding isn't supposed to still be standing once the building's done.